Sorry, I just saw that little flick and I went, oh, I want to do that to start.
What's that?
Oh, the little flick that I did with my head there as I came around, and now that
Oh,
I've realised that I did it really well, and now I want to do it again, I can't do it properly.
Oh, we need to have a hairography entrance, just like whoosh.
Do the thing like we're working and. You know what? I'm just going to keep that in. That's our intro today. Hello,
excellent.
people. Amazing.
The poor people,
love it.
The poor people on the podcast. What was that silence for 5 seconds?
Yeah,
and weird swooshy noises.
Do the monkey thing. And that, children, is why I am old, because I'm making monkey magic references. But hello, everybody. Welcome to Nuts and Bolts. This is something I didn't say before we started the show, Natty. This is our 80th episode.
Congratulations for putting up with me for many of those episodes.
It's been so much fun. I wouldn't say putting up with. It's been a joy because
it's been fantastic.
I did kind of start doing this show on my own and talking to yourself for even just the 20 minutes that those shows used to be is hard. And so I very much appreciate having you here, Natty, so that you can talk and you bring some games that I don't necessarily know about as well. So
yeah, we have good bridging knowledge, and then we both unfortunately fail horribly at FPS games.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we know a little bit. We know enough to be dangerous, I think. But,
yes.
But one game that I have very excitedly gotten into over the last couple of years has been World of Tanks, and seeing the ANZPL back for Split 1 2022, because they've changed the naming. They're not calling them seasons anymore. They're going to the traditional Split 1, Split 2 of the year. They're back. And they played their first games on Friday night, and we can see the results right here. So, in a bit of a shock, the Melbourne Matildas beat the South Sydney Scorpions. So the Scorpions were our runners-up in the grand final last year. And to get the Matildas beating them is a big thing, especially with the single round robin at the moment. So the Matildas restructured a bit. A heap of their players left, and they've got a call with Bolognese and Whippet, but players like Bad Boy Bubbles, I think Magic Shells, and there's one other that's come up from the B League. They've got 3 players that have come from the B League, and to beat last year's runners-ups, that is huge.
That's awesome. It's so cool to see something mixing up the action already at the beginning of the season.
It is, and it'll be interesting to see how they go later on down the track as well. Of course, it is it's going to be interesting because this season as well, the playoffs, only one of these 6 teams will miss out on playoffs. So there's still going to be a chance. So you wonder if there's a little bit of, we only have to make sure we don't finish last to get into playoffs type thing. But it does still make it interesting because for the Matildas, it puts them one up on getting that playoffs entry. And for the Scorpions, it maybe puts a little bit of worry in the back of their head because looking at the Matildas, they were probably thinking that was one of the weaker lineups coming into Split 1 here. And then to have been beaten by them, that's a big loss.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they probably threw some curveballs their way with the new squad to the A-League, so cool.
They did bring in some different sort of tanks as well. A bit
cool.
against the established meta, but and some of the things they did, because they've got a few B League players now. If they did it in B League, it might have been okay, but they did get a little bit punished a couple of times with the B League strats coming into the Premier League, but they still managed to get the win out of it, and it was really great to see there.
Awesome.
On the other end of things, with the Sentinels taking on the Wellington Wolverines, Sentinels defeated them 3-1 there as well. So the Wolverines are a newish team. You may have seen the name before. They've gone through a couple of different times. They did start off in the B League as the Wellington Wolverines before changing to the Wollongong Wolverines, and now they're back in the Premier League as the Wellington Wolverines again. So, yeah, and they had a bit of a hard night against the Sentinels there. And Sentinels, one of those teams where they will punish you if you do something wrong. And that's what happened there. one of the maps they played, Cliff, that is Sentinel's home ground. Like, if you can be said to have a home map, that is the Sentinels map. They know it inside out, and just, they will take any team apart on there. So congratulations to the Sentinels for winning the opening round as well. And then, of course, we've got our teams going up against each other, Natty. Adelaide Action X and the Perth Panthers. Action X came away 3-1 winners there. Congratulations to them on that. But it was a close game, closer than the 3-1 scoreline kind of says, particularly in the first game, because the Action X were on defence of Himmelsdorf, and they brought in a lot of heavy tanks. So I think their health pool was something like 18,000, which is ridiculous amount of health to get through. They had the double mouse and the double E100s, which each of those tanks has over 3,000 HP themselves. So they were coming to hold out on the HP front, and that's what they did there. The Panthers did get a nice pick early on, but couldn't find a way to get through the rest of the HP there. But once again, congratulations to Adelaide Action X for picking up that win. And as we can see... Oh, sorry, what...
No. I was just going to say, it's always cool when our teams go against each other. I feel like Adelaide and Perth really are a good match for each other with having competitive games.
They are. But I also want to say as well, like, I'm not quite sure what's happening with the Panthers, because for the last couple of seasons they've had really good lineups, but last season they missed out on getting into playoffs, and starting off with a loss against Action X, which really, if they were going to push deep into finals, that was a game they had to win. And it just, I don't know, it kind of seems like they've been underperforming, and it hurts me to say that because they are my team, but I just think it feels like that they've got a bit of work to do, and I don't know, maybe finding some people to what other people to scrim against. I don't know what their scrims are like, but maybe trying to come up with some new strats to see what happens there. But once again, it's hard because with the single round robin, you get one chance against a team. Like, the only way Action X and Perth will play again is if they meet in the playoffs. So it's hard to see, do these strats work against these people? And you might just, like, you could just have a lucky night. Like, we're talking about the Scorpions and Matildas. Maybe the Matildas just had a lucky night, and the things that they were trying worked. The RNG gods were in their favour, and they made the most of it. So it will be interesting to see going forward, and we will have a look at the upcoming matches in a little bit. But let's just have a little bit of a chat about the ladder. Not that there's a whole lot to...
Before you move the team standings away, I have to take advantage of this one moment that might not exist for the rest of the season, because the rankings are put in alphabetical order. There are 3 teams that obviously won games, and Adelaide Action X are on the top of the team standings.
Yes, congratulations, Action X. You are first. Well done. But yeah, so it will be obviously not a lot you can take away from that after the first round. It is nice to see Action X up the top, and hope that they can do well to see it, and hoping that someone can beat the Sentinels, because I do like a bit of variety in who our winners are. And for the, what are we at? 6 seasons now, 6 or 7 seasons of the ANZ PL, and the Sentinels have won all but one of those. So
you know what the plot twist this season would be? We all know the grand finals are going to be at Fortress Sydney. What if neither of the Sydney teams made it to the grand final?
Oh, wow.
It would be historic, but it would such a twist.
I think it would be a different H word, hysterical, for me, because I would just be laughing, because just like, how can you have the first grand final in Sydney where the 2 strongest teams in the league by almost a country mile have been the 2 Sydney teams, and neither of them make the grand final? Oh my God. That would be hilarious. But I guess time will tell. Like, we've got 4 more rounds until playoffs, and then I think 3 weeks of playoffs, and then the grand final at and because I think they're playing the 3rd place game at Fortress Sydney as well. So
cool.
So you'd like to think that if the top 4 teams are playing there, that at least one Sydney team would be in there, but Stranger things have happened anyway, but that's the.
I think it would be the darkest timeline if neither Sydney team ended up in the finals.
But that is on the 27th of May. So I've already asked to book leave. They haven't approved it yet, so I'm a little bit worried that because I'm planning on getting over there for this one. Work permitting.
Is this potentially something that you would put in your resignation letter for? Got to get to Sydney. That's it.
I won't say no, but there may be sick days involved. So
we won't tell anyone. We promise. It's just the secret with us and the podcast and YouTube.
That's it. Just sharing it with the world. So that's the standings. Let's have a look at the Fantasy League because the Fantasy League is back this season. The top two people in the Fantasy League for the season get, I think it's a HyperX mouse. So there's some physical goodies up as well as some in-game gold. And the top person for the whole for each individual round gets 500 gold as well. So there's some incentives. So Natty, you know how you were saying before that you missed last week, you could get the best one round and get your 500 in-game gold still.
Oh, okay, all right. Just remind me when the podcast finishes. I'll jump in and put my predictions in for this week.
Sounds good. So for this week, if you had CJ, Magic Shells, Russian, Roendi, and Rainbow in your fantasy team, then you got the best possible points there, 1,432.8. No surprise with CJ getting the top spot there from the Action X. He had a magnificent game. I think there was a couple of games he did 3 or 4K plus damage. So that's really cool there. And very happy to see Magic Shells from the Matildas in there because he's one of the B-League players that's come up. So that's really, really cool to see. And congratulations to everybody that's made it onto the team there. So next week, let's have a look at the matchups there. The undefeated Sentinels and Matildas go up first. And I know this graphic says Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Ignore that. It's Australian Eastern Standard Time now. I think everywhere in Australia and New Zealand has come off Daylight Savings Time now, so which is great for me because it's only 2 hours ahead of the Eastern States. Well, the Eastern States are only 2 hours ahead now, and Adelaide's only an hour and a half instead of 2.5 hours.
Makes life so much easier.
Oh, it does. It really does. Our Goa weekly meetings all of a sudden have more people there because it's not stupid o'clock over East. But yeah, seeing the Sentinels take on the Matildas at 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, that'll be interesting. That'll be the litmus test for Matildas. Like, I don't think you would expect them to win that, but I think seeing how that they would perform in that game there will be the key to see how much this Matildas lineup can do in this season. So that'll be very, very exciting right there. And then on the other end, we have the unwinning, would you call it? I think they haven't won a game yet. We got undefeated on top and
the bottom half of the
the bottom half of the leaderboard at the moment. With the Wolverines and the Panthers going head to head there. Once again, will be interesting to see how the Wolverines will cope up against the Panthers there, seeing what they bring, see if they bring some slightly different meta. Will be very interesting to see. And then my pick for game of the week, the Scorpions versus Action X. So Action X have always been sort of knocking on the door a little bit. They're a good team, but just haven't found the right formula. And I'm wondering if maybe now they have. So once again, this will be a test for them up against the Scorpions. Scorpions will be reeling after the loss to the Matildas last week. So maybe they'll bring a little bit extra. But it would definitely be an entertaining game.
Yeah, keen to see it.
Yep. And of course, we also have the B League going on at the moment as well. So they're on Monday nights from 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time as well. So for them, their matches, we had the Hellcats take on the Brisbane Bulldogs. So the Bulldogs have come back in to the competition in the B League. Unfortunately, the Fireflies have not returned for split 1 2023. So we've got the Hellcats and the Bulldogs. Hellcats reigning premiers. They took off the win there 3-1. And then the Centurions versus the Badgers. Look, the Badgers were always going to be interesting because a lot of there was a good chunk of their players that have gone up to the Premier League now. So they've had to rebuild a little bit there. So seeing them go down 3-1 to the Centurions, also not a huge surprise there. And the Archers, well, they were winless. I don't think they even won a game last season. So all their losses were 4-0 losses, and that trend has continued with the Lismore Leopards beating them 4-0. So yeah, I hope the Archers can just pull something a little bit out of the bag there, and maybe start getting a couple of wins. So, but always entertaining there as well. So that's on Monday nights, if you're keen, from 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. The Premier League is from 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time on Friday nights, all on twitch.tv/World of Tanks ANZ. Get in there, watch the Tanks, good fun. So let's have a look at some other news that we got. So I'm very excited because Dreamhack is just getting closer and closer and closer. I can feel it. It's like 3 weeks. 3 weeks, Natty.
So excited. Got my flights and everything coming into place. So very cool.
I can't remember if I said, but I was going over my booking documents and realised I'd made a mistake because I want to fly out on the Wednesday and then, have a day or two in Melbourne before the Dreamhack, and then go to Dreamhack and have a day afterwards and fly home on the Tuesday. But I was looking at my booking stuff and I'm going, oh crap, I've booked on flying out on the Tuesday. And
no.
Yeah. And I'm going, oh no, I'll have to get a day off, but it's okay. I've realised that Tuesday is actually Anzac Day, so it's a public holiday anyway. So at least it's not an extra day of leave that I have to take. But so I'll be spending an extra day in Melbourne because changing the flights was too hard, so I just booked an extra night accommodation.
Well, plenty of time to catch up with our Melbourne friends.
That's exactly it, and enough to... I don't even know what I'd do in Melbourne with that extra... I do like Melbourne, but I've been to Melbourne a lot. I'd like to go to an AFL game, but that's not going to happen on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
No. No.
Yeah, so it'll
maybe go play a game of go play a deck game of D&D at Fortress.
Actually, that would be pretty cool.
That'd chew up a good few hours.
Yeah, well, I even think Tuesday night might be. No, I think maybe Monday night's their D&D night. But I know they host various things, so maybe that's a good idea. I'll hit up Fortress Melbourne, see what they've got on, what events they've got that I can come and join in and just have a bit of fun. But of course, Dreamhack itself is going to be so much fun. There's just so much good stuff going on there, including the Friday night kicking off. There's a lot of good music, and I'm going to say good music because everybody else says it's good music. Gonna be honest, I don't know these artists. I'm firmly entrenched in like my 90s, early 2000s music. I've kind of heard of Mashton Kutcher. Probably because it sounds like Ashton Kutcher, but they will be performing on Friday night along with Godlands, Jade, Zoe, and Brambles as well. So that is a very exciting lineup for your music happening on the Friday night launch party.
Yeah, dude, I'm so psyched for Mashton Kutcher. Like, get on the beers, Jim.
I will quite happily get on the beers, but I will do Dan Andrews proud. But yeah, actually, and I'll do Jimmy. So I call him. He's Jimmy Reeves. So I was going to call him Jimmy Giggle because that's where I knew him from, and I don't even have kids. But like the guy who was doing the Meanwhile in Australia stuff in the middle of COVID, and there was a bit there. It might have been about the time Dan Andrews said get on the beers, and he was like beers. Yeah. So, but But yes. No, like I'm always open to new experiences, so I will definitely be attending on Friday night to hear these amazing artists and what they've got.
And I hear there's more music. Like there's music the whole weekend, every evening. There
is. So Saturday has some more music as well with Luke Million, who's a synth wizard and a master of groove. And a Daft Punk tribute show called Discovery, as well as Fora, who is a DJ there as well. So it's going to be very exciting to see all this music being played live and. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, it'd be very exciting to see all this music being played live and just seeing people party.
Yeah, I was going to say, ready for next week. I think I'm going to have a Spotify playlist of all these artists so I can start getting myself prepared. Nothing worse than rocking up to a music event and you just don't know the music.
No,
got to study up beforehand.
Yeah, I remember. Like, I'm a big fan of the Living End, the Australian band. Absolutely adore them, and I went to one of their concerts when they came to Perth, and it was an all ages gig, and I'm pretty sure that was the gig that made them decide that all ages gig wasn't for them, because half the crowd there only knew the singles from the latest album, and like they knew none of the other songs. So yeah, there's nothing worse than playing to a big crowd that just doesn't know your discography. Like no. So yes, I think I will also be listening to some and maybe like a YouTube playlist, because I'm not a Spotify user because I'm stuck in the dark ages.
No, look, that's fine. YouTube music is really, really underrated.
Yeah, well, no, and by that I just mean I'll go on YouTube and find a video with their music and let it play through and go through all the recommended stuff afterwards. So, but yeah, no, that is very exciting from the party side of things. But of course, Dreamhack is a video game esports event, so there's a lot of other stuff that's happening. But one thing in particular that I'm excited about, I love grassroots stuff. And seeing a Students' Day on the Friday there with a heap of panels so that school children can get to know esports a bit better. And like seeing panels like online safety or working in esports and getting into esports and gaming industry, as well as like balancing gaming and life. That one, like we were talking about it before the show, and like the gaming and life balance is a huge thing. And like
something we haven't quite mastered yet.
No, not quite yet. But I usually my gaming life balance happens when public holidays happen, or so like this weekend being Easter, I'm very happy with that. I'm going to get a lot of gaming in this weekend because all my friends seem to go away, and I'm just like, well, there's nothing else to do. I guess I will play video games.
Yes, no, that's a good plan. I've also got that on the cards.
Mm-hmm. But it's very exciting to me to see this stuff getting into schools, and I'm really hoping that we see a lot of students there on that day, because it's seeing this getting more and more into schools and breaking some stigmas around it, I think is very important for esports. And I will talk to the days come home how getting into schools and universities is going to be the key growth area for esports. If you start tackling issues and getting people into playing the games at that age, that's where they'll stick through. And you see it in traditional sports. That's why AFL puts so much money into Auskickers. Why stuff like my own hockey club that I play with here in Perth have done put a big effort into going into the local primary schools, because those kids that come through will stick around the club because they love the club, instead of the players that you might get as seniors that you go, cool, come play for us, we'll waive your fees for a year, and then they go, cool, I'll come for that, and then you go, oh wait, you're asking me to pay money this next year? I'm going somewhere else. So yeah. So if you build that love of the game as juniors, then that's going to flow through into the higher brackets, and you'll get a better quality of players. So very excited to see the student day stuff there, and seeing what else goes on. I monopolized that conversation a little bit there, Natty. You got
my response is I agree with everything you've said. I think it's super cool.
Awesome. I thought you were just going to come in and say, yeah.
Oh no, I was going to say the only thing that popped into my head was, it feels like we're doing the Happy Meal, like get kids hooked early.
Oh yeah, but look, in turn, if you can do it the right way, because it is getting kids hooked early, and that's and it is the path of least resistance. If you're in as a kid, you're used to it, you know it, then you're more likely to stick with stuff.
What I like about this event is it's doing the right way, like talking about safety and talking about how you can manage gaming with the rest of your life, and how you can actually make at a young age, if you want to decide to make a career out of esports and pathways to that, rather than, you know, getting to in your 30s and going, oh yeah, esports is cool.
Yeah, and by then your reflexes are shot, and, you know,
yeah.
and you're spending your Friday night, you know, playing Fortnite and shooting at somebody, and all of a sudden they turn into a 10-story tower. You know, thank you, Dan, the internet, for that joke.
Yeah.
But as well as the school stuff, we've also got the bring your own computer tournaments, and there is so much going on. Like, I'm looking at the list here. There's Valorant, Fortnite, COD, Modern Warfare 2, Rocket League, CS:GO, League of Legends, Halo, Master Chief Collection, Overwatch 2, party games. I'm just noticing there's like there's some prize money for party games, and now I just want to sit there because I did notice on the schedule there was Pass the Parcel, and now I'm just envisioning like a big wad of cash in the middle of the parcel.
You know, it'd be perfect if you had an adult Pass the Parcel. It's just like an amazing headset, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's what's in the middle. But I don't know what you'd put, you know, the Pass the Parcel, which everybody wins a prize where you've got stuff wrapped up in the layers. I don't know what you could do, like a $5 Steam gift card or something.
Yeah. I was thinking like a Scratchy or something, but yeah, I think a Steam gift card sounds better. But StarCraft there as well. So that's some really cool tournaments. And like for the bigger tournaments, the Valorant 5v5 one has a 10 grand prize pool. Fortnite 10 grand prize pool, same as Modern Warfare 2. Rocket League has a 5 grand prize pool. So there's some good money up for grabs in this weekend for the bring your own computer area there, and just a nice LAN party, and it'd be very exciting to see that area and see that going off. I'd be curious also to see how they do it, like because all these people are playing live. Would there be like a little broadcast area or?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It was interesting that they had the BYO area at the Game Expo, but yeah, they didn't like have a stand or anything. So for the finalists, you know, they didn't move their rig up onto a stage or anything. It will be interesting to see if it does get broadcast or if it's just all done locally. And if you're interested, you have to like stand around and look over people's shoulders.
Yeah, for me, it's more like I don't mind if the players themselves aren't broadcast, but having like observers in the matches and having them broadcast on a big screen somewhere, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and of course, there's the big ones as well with the ESL Challenger League happening for CS:GO in Dreamhack as well, and the final team has finally been revealed, and that is Evil Geniuses, who have come in through an NA qualifier right there. So they join our local teams, Vertex and Greyhound Gaming, as well as Complexity, IHC Esports, Bad News Eagles, Ecstatic, and Rare Atom as the 8 teams that will compete for the cookies and the ranking points to get into the major competition that they've got happening there, which will be very, very cool. And of course, once again, we talked about it last week. Sad that they're not going to MSI, but we will have the LCO Grand Final happening, as well as TSM versus LCO All-Stars match as well. So that's going to be very, very exciting. I saw my Bliss shirts in the mail, so it should be, given 3 weeks, it should be here by
Hopefully
the time
it'll arrive in time.
Yeah. Actually, it's more like 2 weeks by the time I get over there with flights. So fingers crossed it'll be here. Otherwise, I'll be wearing my PGG jersey around all weekend, which is, you know, considering they're not there. Well, I'm guessing some of them might be there in the All-Stars match, but I'm not 100% on that. But it will still be very exciting between the ESL Challenger and the LCO Grand Final stuff there to see what is happening. And of course, there's the schedule that shows off everything, because there's not just these games that are being played. There's like the Creator Hub, where you can see lots of streamers doing their thing there. There's the Expo. There's meet and greets that you can have with the creators and people that are there. There's also stuff like the cosplay competition. So there's a 16K prize pool for that as well.
15K.
I know. Like, I don't.
Whoa.
I'm just going to click on the article to read that because that's a lot of money. I'm just going to see if there's like a breakdown of it. So the main competition is happening on the Saturday. There's $7,500 for first place, $5,000 for second place, and $2,500 for third place.
That is fantastic.
Just quietly, I think that's more than the first place prize for the BYOC comps. Like, I think the most in the BYOC competitions, the most was like $5,000 for first place.
I think they've got a major sponsor on board, don't they, with Crunchyroll or somebody?
Possibly. It's not saying it on their website, but surely for that amount of money it would be. But also on the Sunday there is a cosplay showcase and there's $1,000 in cash for spot prizes. So that's really cool seeing all that out and about, and as well as an artist alley. So it's not just about the gaming. There's a whole heap of more of your typical expo stuff going on as well as fighting game championships run by Couch Warriors as well. So, well, in partnership with Couch Warriors, sorry, I should say. So lots going on. Huge weekend. Something for everybody there. Get along if you haven't already. Get your tickets. Come and just have a blast.
Yeah, we'll be there. Come and catch up with us.
That's it. And another group that will be there is Team Bliss, obviously playing in the LCO Grand Final. But I saw something on their Twitter feed the other day, and they shared a video that they had participated in making from a group called GameAware. Now, I hadn't heard of GameAware before, but they're a Melbourne company that deals a lot in sort of demystifying esports for places like schools and stuff like that. So they're working on how to get gamers to improve their performance through coaching and mentoring and education and stuff like that. So, but the video itself is targeted more at schools, just to kind of get people to have a look at esports in general and try to get more participation. So it's like we were talking earlier on, or what I mentioned earlier on about how that we want kids to come to this earlier. So it's a little bit, the video is called Demystifying Esports by GameAware, and it's a really good video that gives you a nice little breakdown of, cool, well, you don't want your kids to play esports, but you don't mind them playing sports. Well, here's where there's still very similar things. Like the difference, one of the key differences they brought up was that in traditional sports, when you get tired, the body will just get tired and you'll stop and have a break and you'll know you've hit that wall. Whereas with esports, it's very easy to say, let's just do another game, and not realize when you've hit that wall of burnout and being too tired to progress. So they talked a little bit about that and knowing what barriers you hit when you need to take a break, because it's not just about going hell for leather all the time. You need that break. Yeah,
which is a really good message to be putting out there.
And it's a very good video. It was only a few minutes, wasn't a huge amount, maybe 10 minutes. So if you can go look up GameAware, GameAware AU on Twitter, and they've got the video there that you can go and check out. And it was a really cool video. I can highly recommend it, especially for if we do have any teachers watching. If you want looking to try and get esports into your school, just watch this video and potentially even contact GameAware just to get some ideas on how you could get more esports into your high school. So the last story we have for today, and this one's a bit of a funny one. So we all know that Valve has released CS2, and that's coming very shortly. Beta keys are already out there in the world, but there is a particular video that was going around Twitter that it was very interesting in the way that what it seemed to be showing is that if you look up or don't look at the bullet, you don't get hit.
Yeah, you sent this to me and I was watching it and I just didn't I didn't get it. Like I was like, wait, what's happening? Like, why are they looking at the sky? And then yeah, now when you said that to me and I'm watching them back now, I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that is weird.
it's super weird, and it's also important to note that CS2 is still in beta, so like it's still being tested. But just seeing that was just like, okay, cool. So it's like a game of peekaboo. As soon as you close your eyes, you don't see the bullet, so it doesn't happen. You know,
That's right. If you don't see it, it doesn't exist.
uh,
I think you did pick up something about this though that I completely didn't think of when we saw this video making the rounds, about maybe it not potentially being a bit of a gag on us.
yeah. So like this time of year is terrible if you're on the internet. You cannot take anything seriously because, especially with time zones make this worse because in Australia and New Zealand, like with the way the international dateline is, New Zealand is one of the first countries that moves into tomorrow, for lack of a better term. So when it's the 1st of April here, it's still the 31st of March for the most of the rest of the world. And so there are basically 2 days where you have to be careful of April Fool's jokes. And I was wondering a bit there whether this might be an April Fool's joke. And I still don't know. I think it's early enough because I think like the timestamp on it is 6 a.m. on the 31st of March. So, and I think it does it to the local time zone that you're in. So I'm thinking that this is maybe not an April Fool's joke, but you can never be too careful.
And especially the source that you got this from as well. We saw some other people posting clips of similar things. So I'm still like a little bit of grain of salt, and obviously you said it's in the beta as well. So hopefully, if it is a legitimate issue, they'll catch it and fix it before the game is a live game.
Yeah, no, they most definitely would, because can you imagine just everybody in competitive is just running around looking at their feet or looking at the sky going, I'm not looking. And then all of a sudden you get one guy that YOLOs off a balcony. He goes, I see you now.
Yes, just weird, and it's cool.
Yeah, you got to have a bit of a laugh and just But it's entertaining to see, and entertaining to even think that this might happen, even if it is a fake. It's a bit of a laugh. So thank you. That definitely made me smile when I saw that. But that is all we have for you today on Nuts and Bolts. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget ANZ Premier League. It's round 2, 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time this Friday night. Twitch.tv/World of Tanks ANZ. And yeah, I think that's about it. Now I've been struggling with intros these last couple of weeks, and now I'm struggling with an outro.
Look, how about we go? You had a tagline that we were using.
That's it. Celebrate the wins. That's it.
Yes, celebrate the wins.
That's it. Definitely do that, because it is very important to remember we're playing because we want to have fun. So definitely celebrate the wins. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.